I've played a lot of weird games in my life, and I've played my fair share of bad games too.
I'm going to die.
But none of them have managed to engrave themselves in my mind quite like Murdered Soul Suspect has. I remember seeing a trailer for this when I was a kid and then completely fucking forgetting about it, until several years later when my friend told me he never finished this game and got stuck on some stupid fucking train part. And from everything he told me, I knew I never want to touch this RIPD looking ass game in my life. And what do you know, about a year ago it became free on PlayStation Plus. Fuck me, I guess. Since I had to suffer through this bizarre ass game, you have to listen to me bitch about it for a very long time. So sorry not sorry, I guess. If I can give this game credit for anything, it's the premise. The idea of playing as a goddamn ghost and investigating your own murder is the coolest shit I've ever heard, but the execution unfortunately leaves much to be desired. You play as, fuck, I don't know his name, you play as angry, greasy detective man who smokes. A rough and tough dude who grew up on the streets doing bad things with bad people, like stealing amongst many other things that bad people do. And you wanna know how he's bad too? Because he has tattoos? Like seriously, what's with the emphasis on the motherfucker's tattoos? So after a life of crime, this dude falls in love with a girl who just happens to be married to a detective. Was that a coincidence? Or was he really ballsy enough to start seeing a detective's sister when he was a known criminal? So he decides to abandon his life of crime and join the force when he eventually works his way up the line to becoming a detective himself, who looks a lot like Sebastian from The Evil Within. Like, this shit's uncanny. He spends the majority of his career hunting a local serial killer, who eventually gets the best of him by pushing him out a fucking window and shooting him like 7 times in the chest.
Stop! Stop! He's already dead.
My guy, have you not heard of overkill? Well, probably not, you're a fucking serial killer. And I think killing people in comically aggressive ways just goes hand in hand with that. And then you come back as a ghost and do ghost shit like hunt for your killer and smoke cigarettes even though you're literally dead. I guess it doesn't matter, motherfucker's already got holes in his lungs anyway. You get to live out all your wildest ghostly dreams, which is fun for like 5 minutes but then gets really tiresome as the game plays out. Speaking of the gameplay is a mixed bag. If you know anything about ghosts, that's basically what you can expect from this game. You can't open doors to buildings, you have to wait for someone to open them, but inside is free range. Also, I know the door rule is just a cop-out to prevent the player from going wherever the fuck they want when they want, but imagine if this was true. Imagine you're a ghost and you want to be inside somewhere but you just have to stand there and fucking wait, possibly for hours or even days, for someone to open a goddamn door.
Get a load of this guy!
As I said though, once you're inside it's free range. You can go anywhere you want more or less, as you can walk through 90% of the walls, which is actually a really cool idea that was probably a godsend for the game devs, as it didn't have to really develop boundaries in the game. You can go anywhere except for where the game decides you can't go for some reason. So I know, why don't I just fall through the floor? I go through everything like it's not there, but I can use these stairs just fine. Why don't we just float? For the first 10 minutes I was having a lot of fun walking into random people's apartments and looking at their shit. But honestly, it would have been a lot cooler if these motherfuckers would do anything interesting at all. Speaking of people, you can also possess them and read their boring ass thoughts, and sometimes convince them to do or say things for you. But you can't really do it that often, it's only really when the plot tells you to. You can also encounter other ghosts in the afterlife, who are either angry about nothing, super depressed, or oddly calm considering how they died. Like you'll go up to someone and be like, hey, what's up? And they'll just be like, hey, guess what? I just got ripped in half by a fucking group of elderly people. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna go. The biggest threat to you in the world of the dead are the demons. These really weird stumpy little fuckers will suck the soul right out of your body if they find you. You either have to run away or hide in these ghost energy things. Guys, what the fuck is this thing? You can also kill them if you manage to sneak up on their asses. Then you do whatever the hell this is. These guys usually just prove to be like annoying 100% of the time. Like I can't find these dudes scary at all, I'm sorry. They also have these demon holes that you can't step in or else you'll literally be dragged into hell. The thing I'm least excited to talk about is the detective work, because in case you forgot, you play as a detective. I'm only reminding you because I fucking forgot for a bit. The investigations fucking suck. You gather clues to determine the order of events and exactly what took place. You have to make such amazing inferences such as, this statue was heavy, this is a chair. The game throws you into these crime scenes where you have to find evidence to piece together exactly what went down. It's like LA Noire but way less engaging. All your evidence will be kept in this menu thingy, and you have to select certain ones that you think correlate with the crime scene. This menu would be fine if not for the fucking motion controls. Jesus, I haven't even touched on the motion controls yet. This shit is so weird and uncomfortable, I just hate it. In the beginning of the game, you try to climb back into your body, which It's just as funny as it sounds, and it feels so gross. But getting back on track, the investigation segments are really mixed for me. A couple times in the game you have the option to help someone figure out how they died, and it's usually pretty fun. The story mode ones are way less interesting though. You have to find every single fucking clue in detail before you can even progress, even if you already know exactly what went down. It also has this wholly unnecessary and blatantly funny mechanic where you have to determine what someone is doing and how they feel whilst doing it. This man is searching purposely. This girl is having a very good time. It's just funny to me, and I couldn't help but chuckle every time it came up in the game. Another way of gathering information is by possessing people, reading their minds, and listening to their conversations. And mind reading is kinda irrelevant to you, as you'll learn that these people's heads are more empty than that place that Squidward got stuck in one time. I mean, sometimes you get to interview other ghosts, but it's very short-lived and it's not LA Noire, let's put it that way. The game has different branching dialogue options that manage to be completely fucking useless, as it's not like the Telltale games where you need to pick your reaction. No, you need to say every single one of these things. So that leaves the question, why not just make the scenes in the cutscenes? I don't want to choose what I want this ass hat to say. I guess I'll mention this now, but I actually enjoyed exploring the town of Salem. Yes, this game takes place in Salem. I would be concerned if I was you, dear viewer. Salem is a fun mix of current buildings and old ones, like these ghostly walls in the middle of the street. I was honestly expecting the town to be pretty barren, considering there's a serial killer on the loose and all, but for some reason everyone and their grandma is out roaming the streets. Like, I know the devs only threw these people in here to make Salem feel more alive, but it doesn't go well with the dark atmosphere they're presenting. It also doesn't help that these motherfuckers don't feel like real people. The game also has a few other recognizable locations, such as the police station, the asylum, the museum, and the church. The church is filled with demons and demon holes, which is kinda ironic and funny. There's so many fucking demon holes, in fact, that you have to lead this priest over him and then possess his ass to get by. Which isn't very exciting gameplay wise, but still got a good chuckle out of me. But the reason I decided to highlight this segment first is because you get to play as a fucking cat. Holy shit, I've completely changed my mind about this game. Every bad thing has been completely forgotten. This shit is a 10 out of 10. Oh, I can't finish the rest of the game as a cat? Yeah, that's reasonable. 0 out of 10. I actually feel kinda bad possessing it, as it like fucking recoils and then loses complete control of its body, unlike the humans I possess. So this little fucker has to take a back seat in his own fucking body. No wonder cats hate ghosts so much. There's a few other portions where you get to play as a cat, and the only other one I can remember is in the asylum. This segment happens so early on in the game that I got my hopes up that we would start to see cool locations like this one again. But no. The most we get is boring ass stealth segments where you have to lead this annoying bitch past other humans. These are super easy, and these guys have 2 brain cells collectively. There's also a teleportation feature that has no recharge bar and is extremely easy to abuse. But the issue is they don't tell you about it till like halfway through the game. And they also don't even tell you how to fucking use it. You follow this scary looking girl who can't fucking speak and realize she can teleport. So this makes the player think, wait, why the fuck can't I do that? You just have to guess how to do it. It's L1 by the way, the game won't tell you, so I guess I will. I think I covered just about everything the gameplay has to offer, so before we move on, I'll end this segment by saying, Murder Soul Suspect has a lot of good and original ideas, but the execution falls flat a majority of the time. Playing as a ghost should be aimlessly fun, not stressful and boring. The plot of this game is fucking bizarre, which is not something I was expecting going in. This shit gets weird, in good ways and in bad ways. So when this shit gets going, all I can ask is that you try to stick with me. So as we established half a decade ago when the video started, you play as greasy angry detective guy, who dresses like a neckbeard. Mysteriously though, his name is Ronan, and his wife was murdered. I'm not sure by who, but still. Oh no! So when a serial killer emerges in Salem, he's the first one on the case. The killer murders lonely girls in very mysterious ways that strangely resemble the thing that Salem is fucking known best for. He goes to confront the killer who has broken into some girl's apartment. Ronan is immediately tossed around like a sack of beans before eventually getting thrown out of the window. A window that's like 50 feet high. And he dies, but not like fully, because he climbs back into his body in the most awkward way imaginable. The killer, who came all the way downstairs at the speed of sound, sees Ronan trying to get up, so he shoots him 7 times in the fucking chest. That's a bit much, bud. Ronan is now dead and you have to investigate your own murder, and try to figure out the motivation behind this Assassin's Creed looking ass villain. You find out he was trying to kill the daughter of a psychic, and after some investigation you find out the girl is hiding in the church. So you go there and you get to play as the fucking cat, let's go! And eventually you find her in the attic. When you possess her, she immediately pushes your ass right back out, and reveals that she can communicate with ghosts. So her and Ronan team up to figure out exactly what's going on, and why the killer is going after sidekicks. And before we move on, I just have to say this character is the worst fucking one in the game. She's an unlikable, annoying, and rude asshole the entire time. Ronan, however, starts to care for this girl for whatever reason, reason? Like, are they trying to do a Joel and Ellie type of relationship? Because I fucking hope not. That shit is not fucking working. After you and this girl team up, you continue your investigation. You sneak through the police station and a cemetery looking for clues, and I was actually decently invested in the plot. Sure, this game has the writing levels of the worst Netflix show you can possibly think of, but it was still slightly intriguing. But halfway through, this game takes the hardest U-turn I've ever seen, and suddenly the plot is about the goddamn Salem witch trials. I'm honestly disappointed in myself for not seeing this coming, and after that the story just completely lost me. Yes, we all know Salem witch trials were a dark and horrible thing, but making your plot surrounding them is just so damn lazy and forgettable. Now granted, I'm not saying every plot beat was bad. I found myself deeply disturbed when we got to see the killer at work, especially the scene with the lake and water chair. What the fuck is this thing? I don't care, I'm just gonna call it the water chair. But besides these moments, I found the story to be a bore that I slogged through just to get to the next level. So the two of them continue to collect clues, and I start to wonder if the killer is some random asshole that used to bully Ronan at work. And in that moment, my eyes rolled so fucking far back in my head that they remained stuck in that position. But the actual villain is much, much more hilarious. The mass murderer is some random dead girl that Ronan had one conversation with at the beginning of the game.
A girl. Oh, it's that girl.
And what she does is possess random people to kill sidekicks because she believes they deserve to suffer as she did during the trials. And when I heard this, my jaw hit the fucking floor, and I just sat there laughing. Story writing 101, just because a twist isn't expected doesn't mean it's a good one. The twist actually has to make sense, and this just doesn't, and it's so stupid. So the girl possesses Ross from Friends, who's Ronan's brother-in-law, I think, and she kidnaps the other girl. Ronan then goes to save her in the most anticlimactic boss battle of all time, where the little demon girl reveals her strategy. She explains to Ronan how she possesses people to kill sidekicks, and then kills them after she's done with them. And Ronan's reasonably like, okay, so what the fuck did I have to die for then? Only for the girl to reveal that not only was Ronan one of the killers, but he was also the one who did water chair. This twist genuinely got me, and it was actually pretty damn good. It's funny how the game has one of the worst twists and one of the best twists I've seen in gaming. So the little girl steps in a demon hole and gets pulled to hell, and everyone is saved, yada yada. The girl meets back up with her mom, and Ronan gets to go to heaven. I'm rushing through the end right now because the game also rushes through the end, like straight the fuck through it. The game had a genuinely good final confrontation, and you'd assume that they followed up with a decent conclusion. Nope. Ronan just narrates about how much Salem sucks, and then fucks right off to heaven. And that's it. That's the game. I have a lot of mixed feelings about Murder Cell Suspect. It has a 59 on Metacritic, and honestly, I can't think of a more fitting rating than that. This game is the definition of a mixed bag. It has so much going for it with its interesting premise and decently fun gameplay, but it falls so flat because of its uninspired story and its shitty characters. I know I talked a lot of shit about this game during this video, but I honestly don't hate it. It gives me that warm, familiar feeling of the early 2000 horror games I used to play. Sure, it's not great, but at least it's something original. I would honestly love to see someone try something like this again, and maybe learn from this game's mistakes, and create something special. Hell, maybe we could even get a sequel someday that does nothing but improve on the established formula. So in conclusion, Murder Cell Suspect looks, feels, and plays entirely like a video game, and that's totally fine. 5 out of 10, I'm glad I'm done with this fucking video.